Okay, and Mr. Hannon, I think we've at 7 o'clock, and I think we've got everybody. Do you want me to do a roll call real quick?
I would appreciate that. Yes, thank you.
Sure. Rich Berlandy.
Here.
Emily Breck.
I am here.
Dave Fox.
I'm here.
Bob Hannon.
I'm here.
Robert Eisner. Robert Eisner.
Take him.
He's not hearing me.
Not muted.
Yeah. Robert, is your audio working?
Yep, I just had a little glitch there. I'm here. Sorry.
Okay. No, that's okay. Mark Simpson.
I'm here.
Ned Stachin.
Here.
Jay Tulin.
I'm here.
Fabulous. All right, Mr. Chair, we're ready to roll.
All right, so we'll call the meeting to order. New business. First item on the agenda, Town of Farmington South Road culvert replacement. I think that's what you have up on the screen right now.
It is what I have up on the screen, and we have our Director of Public Works, Russ Arnold, is on the line with us. And Russ, if you want to do a full overview for the commission, I can start with the aerial and then move to the plan at your request. Just let me know.
Okay, great. Thanks, Shannon. Good evening, everybody. As Shannon said, I'm Russ Arnold. I'm the Director of Public Works, Town Engineer for the town. We're here tonight to talk to you and explain why we have to replace the 36-inch culvert under South Road near Woodruff. A little history. Back in 2010, the Inland Wetlands Planning and Zoning, when it was combined, approved a plan on lot number 9067 for West Farms Mall, which basically revamped the wetlands at that time. They did a whole planting plan, regrading, and we worked with the Malone McBroom at the time, was the designer for that wetland recreation and improvement project. And we agreed then to replace the culvert. We got permission and approval then by the commission to replace it. However, it was a big job, a lot of money, and then the culvert was in good shape. It didn't really need the replacement at that time. So we're here now. The bottom of the culvert has started to erode, and we've lost about 20% of the bottom of the invert at this point. So instead of having an emergency situation, we're here before you to get permission to replace the culvert. We're replacing in a 36-inch. We're not changing anything. Pretty much going to keep the same elevation. We are governed by 3 different utilities. There is a level 3 communication that goes over the pipe, as Shannon shows you right there. Below the pipe, we have a 8-inch sanitary sewer with a 6-inch force main that comes from West Farms Mall that was put in 95. And further south, we have a 12-inch water main that goes underneath the pipe. It's offset underneath our storm culvert. So we really can't lower the pipe. We can't change the elevation too much. The inlet and the outlet, it's from the outlet all the way down to Hartford Road, 171. It's basically in about 2,400 feet. There's about 3 feet of grade change. And the mall years ago went in and cleaned that all out, so it's flowing. So we can't change any elevations. We're governed by basically the outlet and the utilities that are installed now. We will dewater. So being that it's a large, the roadway carries a lot of traffic to the mall, and that the mall's getting back up and open from COVID. We don't want to disrupt that during the day. We're going to do this work at night. We put out some bids. We're going to have a contractor with a bigger excavator come in, replace the pipe, and we are going to have a crew with him. We will dewater prior to, like during the day, our dewatering is going to be, we'll put a pipe in on the inlet side, we'll stone all around it, and dewater down the pipe itself. We're going to have to dewater during our construction operation just because of it's a huge wetland and wetland material, and it's not really draining well. The soil doesn't drain well, so we're going to dewater during the operation. And we talking with the 3 different contractors, everyone, myself included, we can get this done in one night. We will pave it the next day with another crew. We'll put, Shannon, I'm at a loss. What are we going to put in for our outlet and erosion control?
Hey, we're gonna do hay bales, and then if needed, we'll do straw wattle here at the outlet. And with the dewatering, we'll do a filter bag.
Exactly. Thank you. And that's pretty much all I have. It's gonna, like I say, we're replacing in kind. We've run the drainage calcs back in 2010. There's no reason to upsize the pipe at all. It handles the flow adequately. There's no overtopping. There's no issues of flooding. It is just a very flat area. And this culvert, as another detail, drains from the north side of 84. There's a big wetland over on the other side that drains through and under 84 in a 48-inch culvert. That is about 300 feet east of Woodruff, and that all drains down through this area as well. So with that, I will open up if there's anybody has any questions. I'd be more than glad to answer anything.
Shannon, can you do me a favor and just raise the pipe up a little? I just wanted to double check the elevation. Trying to double check the elevation at the bottom and the top, just so, okay. So there's only a 0.25 foot difference in elevation. Okay. Rich, I'll start with you. Any questions?
No, it looks like pretty much maintenance work. I did see some excavation that had gone on the south side of that culvert when I was driving by. What was that?
Oh, we removed a couple of fallen trees had fallen down across the brook. And what we were doing is we were cleaning out the culvert itself because we thought it was plugged up a little bit. But we found that it's basically the bottom has rotted out. So that's what we were doing there. We removed the trees that had fallen into that outlet side.
That's all I have.
Okay, thanks, Rich. Emily?
I have no questions. This sounds like a action that's needed to stave off further, much larger problems. So there we have it.
Okay, thank you. Dave?
No questions.
Robert?
No questions. Agree that it's routine maintenance, and doing the work will actually minimize the impact on the road. So Russ and Shannon, you are more than capable of pulling off the project. Keep up the communication. That's it.
Thank you. Mark?
No questions, normal maintenance, and also this will alleviate any problems for the neighborhood. That's all.
Okay, thanks. Ned?
Hey, Ned? Ned, you're muted.
Hey, I'm muted. I'm not muted anymore. So you're replacing the same pipe? This is a metal pipe, I'm guessing?
Yes, it's a corrugated metal, and we're going to replace it with ADS.
Okay. Yeah, it seems like necessary work. I don't see any problems.
Okay,
Also-
thanks. Jay?
No questions. I agree with everyone else. It looks like just normal maintenance work.
Yeah, Russ, I do have one question. If you guys have been out there, have you seen any evidence of any scouring or anything like that? I know it's a pretty shallow grade, but I'm just curious.
Yeah, no scouring at all. And Rob, basically the reason there isn't any, it's so flat, the water doesn't have any chance to pick up any velocity.
Okay.
It is, it's a good thing and a bad thing to be that flat, because we got to de-water for a long period of time just to get it down, so we don't have a problem when we're excavating. But it's a pretty much an ideal situation as far as flow goes.
Okay, no, because if you saw any evidence of any type of erosion or scouring, I mean, I think we probably would have asked to go ahead and take care of that when you go and put the pipe in, but if there isn't anything, doesn't sound like it's much that we're gonna have to really worry about.
Now, one thing we plan on doing, Bob, is we're gonna put some riprap in anyway, just to create that plunge pool,
Okay,
and, you know, just to have it, just from a future maintenance standpoint.
okay, well, it sounds good. I don't have anything else. So Shannon, on this, we just need to have a motion to accept the application.
Correct.
Okay, so would somebody care to make that motion?
So
So
moved.
moved. Second by Robert.
Okay. Any questions, comments? I think everybody's opinion was pretty clear, so speak now if you have anything. If not, we'll just go ahead and take a vote. So all those in favor of accepting the application, please say aye.
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 Opposed, abstaining? Okay. And I guess we'll see you in 2 weeks.
So I'm going to assume there's no site walk needed.
I doubt that it would. I mean, just replacing in kind. So
Okay.
I don't think it's really needed.
Any chance the commission would like to entertain a motion with respect to significance then, as both Mr. Arnold and I will be previously occupied at a other commitment in 2 weeks.
Well, based on comments I heard earlier about this being pretty much routine maintenance, I would say it's not significant, but if somebody care to make that motion, it would be appreciated.
I'll make a motion since it's a replacement of the pipe of the same size and the same kind, or basically the same kind, that this is a non-significant event.
Is there a second? And seeing as how people were pretty clear about how they felt, I'm just going to go to the vote. So those in favor, if this is not a significant activity, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstaining. Okay,
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
thank you. Next up is plant 17, 1179 Farmington Avenue, an update.
Correct. And so we've got photos, and I believe I saw Attorney Galsky on, is that correct?
Yes, I'm here with Mr. Majewski.
Oh, perfect. So Attorney Galsky, if it's all right, I'll go through the photos, and then if you and Stanley want to give an update after the photo, does that make sense?
Sure. Perfect.
All right. So some of these I think you folks saw, because we had the photos from the 18th and the 19th at the last meeting, but just from a continuity standpoint, you can see the work that was done. It's kind of interesting to see this progression as we go through. So these are the photos from the 18th, the first week of work, and the same photos on the 19th, same sequence of photos, I should say, showing the advancement of the work. At this point, they were starting to pull the material back along the edge, you'll recall. And then this photo is from May 24th, which is last Monday. And my mouse is a little touchy, so this, they've started to pull more of the material out of the wetland and create that restoration area, and they were starting to get some topsoil in place for the upland and starting to establish the 8-to-1 slope. This is outside, so these barriers, right, frame of reference, everything outside the barriers is the is not regulated activity and work that is not under our review, but the barriers are in place. There's been no amphibian activity in this area, as George has identified in some of his updates. And this is another flyover. Again, barriers in place, and then ties right into where the silt fence starts. Right here is the wetland B. There's the rest of the restoration efforts going on and starting to get topsoil in place. Oops, sorry, wrong direction. And then this, they left the embankment where the birds are coming and going, the swallows are coming in and out. It's just some of this material in front that they're getting rid of the invasives that have started to germinate there, and then level this out so that it's all can be topsoiled and seeded and receive all the soil amendments. This is some of the, this is, I believe, clean stockpiled material. And then there's another pile that's off the screen that has the material that has the knotweed and black locusts, etc. So they're starting to advance this access road that was on the plans to start to come around. This is the edge of wetland A in our restoration area. And then this is the inundation area to the east where we did see some tadpole activity. This is after some rain. So this is the 27th. I gotta get my dates here. So this is, I think, last Thursday. So we had some rain on last Wednesday and Thursday morning. So there's some rain and standing water in there. So it's definitely doing its job. We hit the right layer. It's holding water. It's certainly a restrictive layer, which is a good thing to see. You can just continue to see the advancement of the topsoil coming through. Cleaning out of the vegetation and all the invasive species along this area. And then this is Monday after the rains, the 3 inches of rain we had this weekend. So, and I was out there on Monday. So there is the access road is it's certainly draining. It's definitely traversable. And as you head down towards the edge, it's a little less traversable. They did get this, the slope, the 8-to-1 slope got seeded and stabilized. You can see there's a little bit of wash through here that'll need to be worked on through this week. You can see the standing water, which again, this is actually a good thing for us to be seeing in this area. Makes it a little challenging for them to get this area seeded. So they got to wait for that to dry out a little bit before they can get a wet mix in there, the New England wet mix. So one of the things I did talk to the site foreman about is, in my opinion, we got cleared a little too close to this area that we wanted left alone. My understanding, and I went back and looked at the plans, and I can understand why it wasn't clear on the plan. Hindsight's 20/20. But I spoke to him when I was there on Monday, and I said, look, as you're coming around, I don't want all this vegetation cleared out. You just clear the access path as you come around. This did have invasives, so it's probably in the long run no harm. There has not been a breach of the erosion control that was set up along this perimeter, so there's been no additional material pushed into the ponded area. But this will definitely have to receive some of the seed mix that's going to come down for this upland. Otherwise, it's just going to repopulate with other invasive material. So we did chat when I was out at the property, and so they're going to start to just arc around. I have not been out since, it wouldn't have been Monday, it would have been Tuesday, it was June 1st. And then we have a meeting set up for Friday morning. Ed is going to meet George and myself out at the property. And so Ed will have a chance to review this whole restoration area, the slope. The seed mix, my understanding, is coming in next week. So we'll have a chance to discuss that and the soil amendments. and review the work that's been in place to start to get this access road in for the wetland creation area that's on the southeast side of Wetland A. So that's where we stand. And Attorney Galsky, do you or Mr. Mirzajewski want to add anything to this at this point?
No, Shannon, you went over over the progress extremely well, and with the pictures. Just to update you on what's happening in the very near future, we do have all the seed mix. We're waiting to finish, like you said, for the basin or the wetland area to dry out. And hopefully Friday or the beginning of next week, we'll seed that.
Okay.
And we anticipate finishing all the topsoil by mid next week, and we will hydroseed that whole flat area no later than Friday, weather permitting.
Okay, Friday of next week, right?
Right.
Okay.
Maybe before, but definitely by Friday, we'd like to have that all seeded.
Okay, and that will be this
Go ahead.
area that's on the screen, is that correct? You're not, because the access road will be left for, obviously for now, so that we can get into the creation area.
Exactly.
Okay,
We may topsoil the other side of the access road if time permits. Otherwise, we'll catch it the next time we see the access road.
okay.
And
That's
then the plants are ordered, they're in stock, and we will have all the plants delivered next Thursday in anticipation of starting to plant immediately thereafter.
okay, for the wetland creation area, correct?
With the wetland creation area, I believe there's some plants also in the
Oh, in the restoration area?
Yeah,
Okay.
I believe there is.
Okay,
So by next Friday, it should be seeded, hydroseeded, with the exception of the Hall Road and maybe the piece north. And we will be starting the plantings shortly thereafter.
great.
And then next week, we will be starting the recreation area, or not, the recreation.
Restoration.
Not the recreation, the new wetland.
Oh, recreating, yeah.
We should be starting that by Monday.
Okay. Okay. So that, how long do you anticipate the forming of that creation area? Because I know you've got to extend the Hall Road, and then we've got the area for stockpiling the topsoil that we want. And then there's actually doing the excavation to form the wetland
Okay,
creation area. Do you think most of that can be done next week, or it's likely going to spill into the following week?
I think it'll spill into the following week.
Okay.
We may be close to finishing it, but I guess it all depends on where George goes with this and what the detail is, and
Okay.
because there's a lot of different elevations that
Right.
he wants to establish, so it's going to be a tedious project. I mean, ideally, would I like to see it done in a week, but it's probably going to be 7 to 8 days.
Okie doke. Understood. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, if you or the commission have any questions or want anything expanded on, or
I'm fine, but again, I'll just go in order. Rich? Rich, you just muted yourself.
I don't have any questions, thank you.
No questions. You might not have heard him.
yeah, I think he said no questions, Bob.
Okay, I didn't hear. Okay, Emily,
No, sir.
Dave,
I have no questions, but I just want to say these drone pictures are very nice. Excellent overview.
Robert,
No questions, just a comment thanking Attorney Gowski and Mr. Maraszewski for their attention over the last couple of months in getting the work done. Nice job, thank you.
Mark?
Yeah, my questions are answered, especially the picture that's showing now. I saw that wetlands area there, the pool-in waters. I had some questions, but they were answered by Shannon. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Ned?
No, everything looks good. I'm curious as to when do we think the starlings will be safe to find new homes? Is that,
Yeah, I've talked to George. It's not showing up on this picture, but George says they normally move out in August. So
okay,
this area is fine. And like I said, they just pulled the material back, but they're still, it didn't bother them at all having the equipment there. They're still in and out doing their thing, but they should be finished. Their nesting season finishes in August. So.
okay. Thank you.
Okay. Jay?
I don't have any questions. Just looks like it's really coming together very well. So that's all I have.
Yeah, no, I don't have any questions either, but I'm happy to see how things are progressing. So that's a good sign for everybody. So I think that's it.
It is. So Attorney Gowski and Mr. Maraszewski, thank you very much for getting on the call this evening. I appreciate it. And thank you very much for the photo images. These have been hugely helpful and really fun for comparing, as you saw this evening. It's nice, provides a nice, easy overview, and that picture is worth 1,000 words, truly.
Well, thank you, and we look forward to finishing this in a couple of weeks.
Sounds good. Okay.
It does.
I'll see you at the site on Friday.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Good night. Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
And Shannon, do we need a motion to add this other item to the agenda?
Yes, please.
Okay, we have an application in for 3-27 Prattling Pond Road for some work, I guess, in the wetlands and setback area. So would somebody care to make a motion to add this item to the agenda?
So moved by Robert.
Is there a second?
I'll second Ned.
Okay, I'm just gonna go straight to a vote. So those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, abstaining. Okay, Shannon, do we have the party here on this?
I believe we do. Joshua Lombardo looks to be on the phone, and Joshua, you can unmute your microphone, and if you would introduce yourself and then provide a brief overview to the commission of what you are looking to do. I've got the plan up on the screen. You should be able to see it on your screen, and
I
we
can.
go from there.
Okay, thank you. My name is Josh Lombardo. Hi, everybody. I live over at 23 Prattling Pond, which is a small section. It's considered West Prattling Pond. There's 8 houses on this section. So I'm representing myself and the 7 other neighbors tonight. Our plan is to repave a section of the road, and it's approximately 775 feet of the road, which is outlined in green there. Along with that, there are 2 drains. Everything is pre-existing. So there is one catch basin at the corner and then another catch basin down by where our section of the road meets the main section. Those catch basins are approximately 30 inches wide by 2 feet in length. And they are basically piped out to the opposite side onto the Farmington Land Trust property there. And it is 18-inch corrugated pipe that runs underneath the road. So I'm not sure when this initially was done, but the road has, fallen into disrepair over the years. I moved into the neighborhood 2 years ago, and we all kind of agreed to take on this project to repave this section. There's quite a bit of potholes, and the road is eroding on either side. The drains themselves have you know, completely basically stopped up and filled with sediment and leaves and other matter. So again, our plan is to basically, the contractor will reclaim or remove asphalt along this section of the road. He will fix the drainage, and by that I mean he will remove or replace the catch basin tops or catch basins if needed, as well as the 18-inch corrugated ADS pipe that runs under the road and is piped out to the other side. Currently at the outlets, there is nothing. Again, they haven't been working in some time, but there's quite a bit of vegetation on that property, and they just basically go out. Our plan would be, obviously, when we replace those pipes at the outlets, to add riprap. We're also going to, before the project starts, add silt fence for erosion control down at the bottom portion of the road. So basically the section that I outlined in blue is approximately within the 150-foot upland wetland review area from the section or the area of wetlands down on the Farmington Land Trust property. And they did do some work on this property, I guess the Farmington Land Trust, in the last 10 years with grading, and they also added a like a soil hill. I'm not sure what that's called. It's like a berm basically that protects the that portion of the wetlands and separates the rest of the property. And again, so the length of the road is 775 feet. It is 18 feet wide in most sections. In other sections, it's 16 feet, but for the most part, it's 18 feet wide. And we're just planning on basically replacing the drainage with, you know, like with like. And, you know, if we need to replace the catch basins themselves, we will. Hopefully it's just the tops and the pipes themselves. I did speak with the Farmington Land Trust and got prior approval from them. I was on a Zoom meeting with them 2 or 3 weeks ago, and they did give me their approval. They also had their engineer and steward, Steve Nelson, come out and walk the site. I'd also been working with Bruce Sear for the last couple months, and he came out and walked the site as well. And I believe that's basically the gist of it.
Okay, thank you.
Shannon, a quick question for you. Do we have anything in the file from the land trust in terms of their opinion on this?
We've been in touch with Liz Dolphin regarding this. So Liz actually was the one that was able to provide this plan. I have not followed up with her. I have Joshua's email indicating that he spoke with them. But I can certainly follow up with Liz and confirm that they don't have any objection to this work. There hadn't been to date. She was aware of the request, and we have been sharing information back and forth, but I'm happy to follow up.
Yeah, because even if it's a copy of the minutes,
Certainly.
for the meeting, I mean, that'd probably be sufficient unless Liz wants to draft a letter to us. But I think that would be important for us to have in the file. So I will go around. We'll start with Rich again. If anybody has any questions about what's being proposed here. Rich, anything?
No, I don't have any questions. I do know the land trust years ago had done some work with invasives on this parcel, so that's probably what was going on back then. But no, I don't have any questions.
Okay, thanks. Emily?
I do not. I want to have a question about this, but it seems fairly straightforward.
Okay, thank you. Dave?
No, I don't have any questions either. It looks like the outlet is well over 100 feet away from the wetlands. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Robert?
No questions. Looks like routine maintenance.
Okay. Mark?
No questions also.
Thank you. Ned?
I just have one question for Shannon. Is the Farmington Land Trust meetings and the land acquisition meetings the same meetings, or are they different meetings?
Different meetings and different organizations. So
Okay.
the land acquisition is a function of the town of Farmington. The Farmington Land Trust is a private organization within Farmington.
Okay, I got you. Thank you.
Liz is involved with both. She's the executive director for the Farmington Land Trust, and she is the staff consultant liaison for land acquisitions. But
And they also meet in different locations.
well, there's
Well,
that.
That was my only confusion, was because when you said Liz Dolphin and was in contact with it, then I started saying, well, we haven't had a meeting in a while, but I understand that they're different. I thought they were different, but I wasn't sure.
Nope, no problem.
Okay, yeah, I don't have any, it just seems, any questions, it just seems like it's in-kind replacement and normal maintenance.
All right, thanks. Jay?
Thank you.
I don't have any questions, and I'm hoping next week I'll actually get to participate in my first Land Acquisition Committee meeting as a member. But otherwise, I have no questions.
Well, the only question I have, I think, was sort of answered earlier, because I'm thinking that for an individual to take on 775 linear feet of a new roadway, that's a little bit rough on the pocketbook. So I'm glad to see that you've got other neighbors pitching in. So.
I thought that was going to be the hardest part, to be honest. So.
Okay, no, I mean, I don't have any questions on it. So I guess what we need to do now is, can I get a motion to accept the application?
So moved, Statchen.
Is there a second?
Second, Mark.
Jay, second.
Okay, and based upon what I heard from people, I'm just going to go straight into a vote instead of asking folks for comments or questions. But all those in favor of accepting the application, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Abstaining? And then my take, I think like a lot of other people, is this is sort of routine work. So I do not think it's a significant activity, but if somebody would care to make a motion to that effect, it would be appreciated.
Jay, so moved that we determine this is not a significant activity.
Is there a second?
Dave will second.
Second, Mark.
Okay. So there's a motion indicating that this is not a significant activity. Those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Abstaining? And what's your pleasure about a site visit? Do you think that's necessary for this? I mean, I'll start with Rich. We'll just go through. It's, basically a yay or nay.
I don't think a site visit's needed.
Okay, Emily?
No, definitely not.
Dave?
No, I don't think so either.
Robert?
No need for a site visit.
Mark?
No site visit.
Ned?
No site visit.
Jay?
No site visit.
And I'm in agreement with the rest of the group, so no site visit. So is that what we're doing on this one, Shannon?
That's it. That's it. So we can do final vote at the next meeting then.
Yep. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Joshua, for calling in.
Yeah, thank you for your time. I appreciate it, guys.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye.
Planners report.
I do not have anything to add this evening that's coming to mind.
Okay, next up is approval of the minutes of May 19th, 2021, Inland Wetlands Commission meeting. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved, Statchen.
Second?
Second by
Second.
Robert.
Any questions, comments, corrections? Hearing nothing. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 I'm going to abstain because I missed that meeting, but I am feeling much better today, so thank you.
This is good news.
So I guess we can actually adjourn wetlands at 7:40 and go into the Conservation Commission meeting at 7:40. Land acquisition, it sounds like there's no report because Jay hasn't been to the meeting yet.
Are the two of them dated, do you think?
So next, planners report.
So the only other item would be, I know Jay has expressed interest in attending the Kakiwik mid-year conference, and so I've got it up on the screen. It's online. It is Saturday, June 12th, from 8:45 to 1:30. Somewhere along here, there's an agenda. Click here for details. Let's do that. So there's a workshop, the importance of recycling during the waste crisis, Wetlands Law by Janet Brooks, and the Vernal Pool Monitoring Program by Ed Pollock are the topics for this event. So the town of Farmington will cover the fee for this. I just, and I'll do this electronically. I'll get everybody registered electronically. It'd obviously be easier to do it at once. So if you think you're interested and want to check your calendar, if you could let me know tomorrow so I can get this process on either Thursday afternoon or Friday, that would be helpful. If I hear none, then I'll just get Jay registered and we'll go with that.
Yeah, Shannon, I can tell you now, I'm probably not going to be able to make it because chances are pretty good I'm going to be out of state.
Sure. No, that's understandable. It's tough. It's Saturday in the summer. It's a tough one, but I just wanted to kind of do a last call for everyone so that we can get registrations processed. So so that's it for that. So again, just email me tomorrow if you would like to go, and I'll take care of the registration. And then the other item for you, just a reminder that I will not be in attendance at the next meeting. So the next meeting is June 16th, and my oldest graduates. So I'll be occupied elsewhere. Both Bruce Sear and Catherine Kramer are on tap to be in attendance. I've got both of them on tap because we are expecting that we will be receiving the official application for Midpoint Development that evening. So we've been back and forth with them extensively. They initially thought they wanted to start this evening, and I just cautioned them and said, make sure you really have all your I's dotted and T's crossed. And so they opted to take a little extra time and make sure that they did just that. So that means they will be starting in 2 weeks, assuming they get the application is, but my understanding is that's their intention. So you'll have both Bruce and Catherine here to help shepherd that through in my absence. I'll have the agenda review done in advance like usual. So all the usual prep work will be in place for everyone. And then obviously just based on this evening, there'll be the voting for the Town of Farmington project and then the Prattling Pond Road project. But neither required additional information. So that should be relatively straightforward to manage both of those that evening. And then we'll just monitor to see. I'm not expecting any other big applications between now and the 16th. So if anything else comes up, we'll just keep you folks appraised.
Shannon, on the new project, how much of the area that's proposed for construction is actually by definition wetland?
So my understanding is the actual wetland soil, be it poorly drained and very poorly drained soils, are limited to really the perimeter, and then there's a pocket. Let's see if it shows. Yeah, it does show in the aerial. There's a pocket of water here. So the very poorly drained soils are not pockets of them here within the property.
What about alluvial?
There are larger tracts of alluvial soils. there are. And I haven't seen a full delineation. I don't have the full report. I don't have any of that. So that's, I can't tell you specifically area-wise and how much. And obviously the town of Farmington has already been through, and these soils are clearly going to be heavily disturbed already because the town sewer trunk line is through here. So that's this that you can see. So the sewer trunk line has already gone through, and the dynamics of this being floodplain soils has changed with the introduction of the bridge, because let's see if I can get my map layers on. You can take a look and you can see the FEMA, right? So the FEMA line comes all the way up here into the ball field area and the parking for the ball field, and the bridge acts as a throat to that. And so it drastically restricts that flood and even the elevation. So your base flood elevation here is 182 and your base flood elevation down here is 175. So there's a noticeable change that takes place as you come through under that bridge crossing. But that's the extent of the information that I have at this point. I don't have, and I'd have to look through, I don't think the draft, when they came into TPZ, I don't believe there was a full delineation report and function and analysis report when they went to TPZ for the zone change. And they did, you'll recall, speak with you folks informally back in the, I think it was the fall, that they were in and spoke with all of you.
Okay, thank you.
Shannon,
Yes.
if, I know we don't know the elevations, but I mean, their proposal was to lower the rails to trails
Yes.
between the bridge over the river and the Big Bird Bridge.
Yes.
So now if that goes below 182, oh, it's not?
It's not.
Okay.
No, they've paid very close attention to that. So the when they lower the rail, so shoot, sorry, from Route 4 to the bridge, they're holding the elevation at both bridge abutments and dropping it. So the midpoint pretty much ends up right about here on that. And it drops about 15 feet. It puts them about a foot or so above the base flood elevation. And then they're going to bring it straight out and tie into the parking lot. And we may have some compensatory storage that we have to do on the town's end. But it's really minor. So you're going to go from about 183 to tie in to about 181 in the parking lot.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, so that's been looked at. We've been attentive to that.
Okay. Thank you.
Certainly.
The other thing, I guess, is if they're coming in 2 weeks, assume that's the scenario.
Correct.
That gets us into August and we don't meet. So we're going to need an extension from them, aren't we?
So I think depending upon how the conversation goes next week, and depending upon where the commission's concerns lie, they may request the commission make a determination on significance and the decision to hold a public hearing in advance of doing the site walk, based on the information that gets shared and discussed next week, which would allow the public hearing to open in July. And then I'd have to take a look to see whether or not we wanted to push for the first meeting in July. I believe it can be done because we get 3 weeks. I actually, because my vacation ties right into that. So I actually was going to be coming back and not right into a meeting. I've got a week before we've got to prep for the July meeting. It's one of those times where we get 3 weeks between meetings rather than just 2. So they may make that request so that if the commission thinks that this is going to warrant a public hearing based on the work that's being requested, then they may opt to go that way to try to get the hearings started in July. And then if we need to go into hiatus in August, then so be it, and then finish up in September.
Okay, thank
They're
you.
aware. They know we don't meet. They've been juggling a couple of things. They knew I was going to be away. I've been letting them know since like March, as soon as I knew, because I knew this has been in the background. So I've let them know, I want to say since March, that when I was going to be away. They certainly know about the August break. And they also were mindful of the other application that the commission was handling, and certainly it wasn't, well, and it wasn't prudent from a number of fronts. It certainly wasn't prudent, from us to try to manage both of these applications at once. And it certainly wasn't in their best interest either. So they, while they were somewhat ready, they didn't pull the trigger on everything, knowing that they had to be patient and wait out the 402 Farmington Ave project. They could not cycle at the same time. They weren't happy about it, but they understood.
Okay, thank you very much.
Certainly. So that's all. So it's just the Kakiwik, and then they, the timing of upcoming meetings and when I'll be out. So.
Actually, just a side question is related to the email that you sent out for the affordable housing.
Oh, certainly.
What's the time frame that people are looking at for getting comments in, assuming you have any?
So we are going to have a public hearing. It's going to TPZ to be accepted at this next meeting.
Yeah, it's
and
scheduled for July 12th.
And a public hearing scheduled for July 12th.
Yeah.
So if there's any comments that you want staff to consider prior to then, it would be nice to have, I'd say before the end of the month or earlier if you can do it.
Okay.
If you're thinking you want to make public comment about it, then that would be at the July 12th hearing with TPZ.
Okay, thank you. I just thought I'd bring it up in case, people wanted to comment on it, so they've got some ideas what the time frame is.
Absolutely. Thank you, because that had fallen off my radar. So thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I just would want to make a comment that I would, on this project, with the size of the project and the close proximity to the river, I would be very surprised if we didn't need a public hearing on that. Just if they want to keep that in mind.
But that's, again, I don't want to, the applicant's not on, so I don't want to get too far into this, but this is just so you folks are prepped and understand timing. And certainly that's a discussion for the next meeting with the applicant. It all depends on how the conversation goes and the exchange of information between you and the applicant and the material that's presented. So I think that's, and then they may, regardless of that, like I just wanted to make you aware, they may request that you folks go ahead and do that determination so that if they can then judge their timing accordingly. But that's really for the next meeting with the applicant.
Understood.
Okay, so anything else on planner's report?
No, sir.
Okay, so last item on the agenda is approved minutes of the
19th.
Is it the May 5th or is it the May 19th?
Sorry, May 19th.
Conservation Commission meeting minutes. Can I get a motion to approve?
So approved.
Second?
I'll second.
Any comments, corrections? Hearing nothing, those in favor of approving the minutes, please signify by saying aye.
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 And I will abstain on these for the same reason as the wetlands minutes.
Sure.
And this is a habit it would be nice to get into, but it sounds like we're not going to be able to do that based on this next application. Mr. Eisner, you have a question. I just saw your hand raised.
I do. Just a comment. I wanted to, make a comment similar to Ned's on the incoming major project, that unless the conceptual design has changed from what we saw, given the number of acres of disturbance and the number of linear feet along the Farmington River, I would lean towards likely a significant activity. Just to help with planning, Shannon, and thank you for making all the arrangements for the next meeting, and I hope the weather holds out for a nice graduation.
Thank you.
Yeah, and Robert, part of the reason why I even raised the issue about the alluvial soil was kind of for that purpose. So I'm curious to see what percentage of the site is sort of a wetland delineated soil based on the statutory definition. So, all right, so I guess we're ready to close at 7:56.